Hold that over there. Hold this. The trigger's over. Come on now. Work that pedal. Come on, man.
Hey everyone, this is your servant, Pastor Paul Graham. I am up, I'm alive, and I'm well, and I am excited about tonight. We missed last week. That's I'm gonna say that this is Leah's fault why we weren't on last week. And even though it's really not her fault, I just needed someone to blame. And so just want to say happy Monday to everyone. Happy Monday to everyone. I'm excited about tonight. I've been in touch with our good folks this week, and so I'm so glad that they don't even know what we're about to talk about tonight. They have no clue, but I got a clue, and you better have a clue. So I'm going to ask you to share this with others right now. Share this with friends, your neighbors, share this with your enemies. And where is Quest? Oh, here we go. Here we go, Quest. Here we go, Quest.
You already know what it is.
What you saying, bro? How you doing, brother?
Man, I'm coming up off of a cold, but I'm doing all right. I'm doing all right.
Man, I talked to your wife. She said that you weren't feeling too well, so I sent you something in the mail.
You did?
No.
Oh.
Yes, yes, yes,
Yeah,
yes, man.
I'm fighting this stupid. It started out as a some upper respiratory something or another. Lost my voice on Wednesday through Thursday. Started coming back a little bit on Friday.
Okay.
It's still kind of quirky. It ain't at 100% yet, but it's at, I don't know, a good solid 89, 90 maybe.
Hey,
but yeah,
listen,
we're gonna fight it, and
we're gonna fight it. We're gonna fight
we're
it,
gonna
man.
get it
Fight it.
right.
You
Yo,
sound
man,
good though.
something special happened today.
Okay, talk to me.
I was driving through my subdivision,
Mm-hmm.
and I was going to the front of the subdivision, and there's a long hill that goes down, and then it comes back up, and then you end up at the manor house, where you hold the events. That's where the main thing is. So we have like a little self-contained community kind of thing where you were here. Were you here? Yeah, you were. Right across the street is the outlet mall from the church. I
Yes.
live in the area right behind there.
Okay,
Right.
cool.
And so this older gentleman that I see at Harris Teeter, that's a supermarket here. Um, he I see him there all the time. Older gentleman, um, older white gentleman, all white hair,
Okay.
tall, slender, probably a little bit shorter than me. He was walking down the hill. So I drive past him, and I see the uniform, the Harris Teeter uniform, the shirt, the little polo shirt or whatever.
Yeah.
So I stop and I put the car in reverse. Because I stopped and passed him. I was like, I wonder if he's going to work. Of course he's going to work. He got the dog on and his badges on and stuff.
Come on.
And so you know how you contemplate for a moment? I was like, don't contemplate nothing. Put this car in reverse.
Yes,
Put
yes.
the car in reverse.
Just do it.
I saw him. He had his little badge on. I said, Mr. Gord, it's short for Gordon, right? I said, yo, I know you, right? And he said, everybody knows me. I said, you work at the Harris Teeter. He said, I sure do. I said, well, I'm on my way there now. Would you like a lift? And he was like, I sure would. Now, if you're walking, it's probably going to take you about 20 minutes to get there.
Okay.
But if you're driving, it's 5 minutes. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And so he gets in the car. I said, how's your Monday? He said, it's good. It could be better. I said, it could be better. I said, look how beautiful it is outside. You know what I'm saying? He said, yeah, I know. I said, well, what's troubling you? And then he said, I'm going through a bit of a divorce.
Wow. Wow.
How are people going through divorce in their late 70s, early 80s? How is that? How?
I can't figure it. I can't figure it.
Unless he's younger and looks older. But the man, I'm telling you, he could easily be my father.
Wow.
Easy.
And divorce.
And divorce. He says, she's accusing me of having an affair. He said, I haven't touched another woman in 20-something years. I said, okay, cool. I said, I'm sorry to hear that. He says, she accuses me of hiding money. I'm not hiding any money. She's hiding money, though. And she's going out dancing with other men. I guess she's preparing for her next husband. And I said,
Ooh.
Mr. Gord, I feel it for you, and I'm praying for you that this goes as well as it possibly could be as you navigate through this
Mm.
challenge. So then I said to him, he said, the good thing about all of this is that it's brought me closer to God.
Oh.
I said,
Oh.
what? He said, yeah. I said, what church do you go to? He says, when I can go, I go to Elevation. Apparently they have a car,
hmm
but he wouldn't leave their bedroom. So he said, since I haven't done anything, so why am I leaving the bedroom? He said, she's like, oh, okay, cool. You don't leave the bedroom, I take the car. So he's had to walk to work for the last year.
Oh, that's okay. That she's wilding.
Yeah, she's wilding.
I'm
She's
sorry.
wilding.
Based on what he's saying. Sorry. Based
Based
on
on
what
what
he's
he's saying.
saying.
Yeah,
Right.
based on what
That's
he's
wild.
saying. Because, I don't know, but he doesn't seem, I could be wrong. He doesn't seem like the type of person that would, you know what I'm saying?
hmm
Um,
hmm
but I thought it was such a blessing to meet the man first and foremost.
Sure.
And then when I went shopping, I bumped into him in the aisle. He was like, I went to drop him off at the front door. He says, no. Go ahead and park. I'm early. And
hmm
so he said, if it's my punishment, I'll walk from the parking lot to the door. Dying laughing.
Wow. 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 Yo,
But what
listen,
I
man.
did was I gave him
Mm.
my number, P. And I
Yeah.
said, Mr. Gore, Mr. G, whenever you are if the weather is inclement and if I'm at home and you call me,
Yeah.
because he lives right around the corner from where I live, call me
hmm
and I'll take you to work.
I got you. I got you. I got you. I'm let me
I'm
bring on
tripping.
Leah. Hey, I hear you. Leah, I know you heard that just now. I know you heard that just now, but that's why I just said, based on what he told you, based on what he told you, because I know that you're already thinking. Can you be up there in age and thinking about divorce?
I'm just saying, like,
Well,
I
mean,
go,
there's been a
as
lot
I
of
talk about it right now, I legit want to cry.
Wow. Leah, go ahead. What you're saying, girl?
no, I was just gonna say there can be a lot of different factors, right? It may not be just as cut and dry as okay, he presents as a certain age. His wife may be significantly younger, right? There could have
Mm.
been situations that transpired in the past that she has been unable to let go of. And there is the constant repeat, the constant rumination, right, of betrayal that may have these, situations occur. So it can be
Mm.
a variation of things that, may be going on within that particular household that will finally bring an individual to a point where they may no longer want to contend with it. It could be not even cheating, right? It could simply be that maybe the parts don't work anymore and there's a need.
Come on, Amina. Come up, Amina. There you
Yeah,
go. The parts don't work anymore. I mean, like the parts don't work anymore.
like erectile dysfunction, right? So there's a lot of, again,
Wait a
different.
second, Amina. I did not say any. I did not have a conversation with Leah. I did not have a conversation with her. Tonight, I'm gonna tell y'all right now. Tonight, straight up, I was coming with the mindset of menopause and erectile dysfunction.
Because it's
And
real.
I mean, I'm gonna say this right. Is it fair that a woman? I'm just saying that a woman would put away her husband because of this.
Mm-mm.
No. Okay.
In sickness and in health, right, is what the vow is to be.
Yeah.
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 But that
Man.
doesn't mean that people won't do it, right?
That part.
Because there's a measure of selfishness, right? We all possess a measure of selfishness.
Okay.
It's just kind of knowing when we're being selfish. Do we want to honor that?
And I'll tell you when I'm sitting there talking to that dude today, I promise you, I was like, man, I was happy to meet the dude and happy to be able to, I'm saying, be a blessing in terms of, just giving him a ride, to work.
Right.
Had a nice little,
but question. Let me tell you what's on my mind.
Yeah.
If I'm 75, I'm just saying this is me. If I'm 75 and I've been with my wife, it would be now, if by the time I'm 75, it'd probably been in there 40 years. right?
Mhm.
I don't know what I don't know what I'm getting a divorce for, unless it's my freedom to be free to do whatever I want to do, or because my relationship with her is bringing me to hell. You know what I mean? I mean, I don't know, because my mindset is I'm doing like 24 years coming up. And I'm like, man, I ain't trying to waste 24 years.
Don't know.
I'm not trying to waste 24 years. So could imagine 20 more on that. Would I get a divorce? And I'm saying no now, right? I'm saying no now. But what could someone be going through to that degree at 70 something years old when they're saying, yo, I'm done?
Bro.
That's just my thought. You know. Go ahead, sis.
So there are some statistics that are quite shocking to me, at least, that are out there when it comes to the divorce rate for adults who are over 50. And they've doubled since the 90s.
Mm.
There's actually a terminology for it called gray divorce.
Gray divorce.
Gray divorce. So, I mean, I don't know if this is where we want to go tonight.
Just go.
Okay.
What's gray divorce?
But let that sink in, right? The fact that there's even research on it with percentages behind it, the fact that there is a title of it, like this, we are just catching up.
Wow.
But then we need to look at the simple fact of, and it was funny because I was teaching in one of my DV classes today, and there was a young man. He's 26 years of age, multiple children within his current relationship, and he's going through hell on wheels, right, in this relationship. And so we were kind of talking a little off script on how long are you willing to just go through this hell that is already here right now?
Man.
A baby. So you looking at least, and we talking on the minimum, y'all know that at least 18 years at minimum. You willing to sit in that? Right? And so then we began to talk about like the real of it. Most people are remaining in their marriages just simply because some of the things you were saying. I done put 20 in. I ain't about to, let that go, but you're miserable.
Wow.
To your point, Leah, I just spoke with someone this week who is a Christian and is contemplating divorce because of the covenant and their loyalty, and also what people would think of them, struggling with what they should do.
So where's the loyalty? So who's the loyalty to?
They feel guilty about leaving their spouse. And then it's, the covenant, right? And then it's also, what are people going to think of me for leaving?
Wow. I don't know.
But so I looked up what gray divorce is. Can I just read what I found?
Yeah.
So it refers to the rising trend of couples over the age of 50 getting divorce. This term was popularized to reflect the stage of life often involving gray hair, when many assumed couples were settling into retirement, not separating. It challenges the long-held belief that if a marriage lasts into later life, it will last forever. And then it also talks a little bit about this phenomenon that's sort of out there, challenges us to reshape what aging, relationship, and freedom looks like.
Yo, listen, I think about this all the time. When people that I know of personally that have gotten divorced, they would say to me a year later, months later, I'm free. Right? That's what they would say. I'm free. And my question would be, what are you free from? You understand where I'm coming from? So I'm gonna hit Leo real quick, and I'm gonna come back down to Terry, just real quick. I'm going to ask you if you felt free. Okay, what did you feel free from when you got a divorce?
I felt free from the mental abuse that he was trying to impose. I didn't even want to go through it.
Wow.
My mind is not worth a marriage. You know how they used to say, you know, this is your brain on drugs?
Drugs, right.
This is my brain on a bad, no, not me.
Wow. So you wouldn't you're not gonna waste your mind on a bad marriage.
Listen, Paul. 3.5 months in the home. Try it again, 4 days. I don't play with my health and my mental well-being and my children. I don't believe in negotiating and sacrificing, right, their outcomes just simply because of a title of marriage. That's just where I'm at. Now, did I struggle with how God seen it? Of course I did, right? And I had to go through a whole lot of study, a whole lot of prayer and silence so that the Holy Spirit could reveal to me that what I was doing was okay. So that was more painful than me leaving, right, the foolishness that I found myself wrapped up in.
Man, freedom, Terry. If you have that mindset that, hey, listen, I feel free, right? What would you feel free from in divorce?
You don't say you always getting out of prison.
No. We're just down that road for a second.
What would you be free from? I think I was free from the tyranny. Okay. The tyranny of the attempted gaslighting. You see what I'm saying?
Man.
Of the power and control, you know, trying to the tug of war about, you know, how the kids should be raised and how the home should be, and you know, that is freeing. You know, it's devastating because, you know, like I said, I put 26 years in the joint, you know, and in heaven, I'm still married. You see what I'm saying? I did not divorce. She did. Okay. So
you can be a little theological there, bro.
She causing me to commit adultery.
Stop it.
Because this is what you do. You wait it out.
That's what the Bible says.
Somebody is gonna fall, so you just gotta stick your out till they fall first.
And so, you know,
my God.
I stayed. Okay. Even through discomfort and the whole nine, I stayed because I didn't want my kids to experience what I had growing up. And so what you find is a lot of times you acquiesce and back down and do whatever that you don't even become you're not even yourself anymore. You know what I'm saying? You're not even yourself anymore.
So people can, I mean, honestly.
Where you go? So until he comes back. Right. Terry, you said something spot on, right? That a lot of times individuals within the marital, you know, union will acquiesce to another individual, knowing, right, that they are miserable and not thinking that their misery is translating into the misery of their own children.
Man,
a lot of times you will hear them say, I'm doing it for the kids.
Yeah, I'm staying because we got these kids.
Right.
You know, you find out this is a weird thing, like kids go off to college and they come home and like, did you hear mom and dad are getting a divorce? And the kids are so upset because they didn't know. And it was like, your dad and I have talked about this for a while. You know, we just wanted to get you guys situated, and then boom. And so this is what I remember what my ex said to me. And I was like, so we got these kids, you not, you know, and her whole thing is this: kids are resilient. That's what she said to me. And I said, so if kids are resilient, why do we have all these adults walking around with problems?
Listen.
Wow.
If kids are resilient, why do we have all of these kids walking around with problems who come from divorced homes? And then when my daughter, because my son was in school, and my daughter started doing things, guess who she would bring her to?
You.
And I'm like, well, I guess that's that resilience you're talking about.
Mm.
Because my daughter and my son saw me when they got up and saw me when they went to bed. No longer is that happening.
Mm.
However, it's you never, I don't know when people say I'm free, there's certain things you're free from, but you still connected. You know, I don't know if you saw my post or whatever, my daughter just graduated, you know, high school. We just came back, you know, from
Congratulations.
whatever the case may be. Thank you. And it's like that whole, you know, connect. I used to take her to school every morning. You know, her mom would pick her up. It was me and her, me and her, me and her. And one of the things that, you know, you say you're you know, what are you free from? I'm free from just the like, oh, I can breathe. You know what I'm saying? I can breathe now, you know. And those are some of the things that I didn't have to worry about anymore. What did I miss? I miss coming home to kids asking, hey, dad, you know, whatever. You don't get that anymore. Now you come home to a quiet house, you know, and over time you'd be like, man, this is kind of nice. You know, it's kind of nice. So you don't have to fight with anybody. That verbal jousting that goes on, you're free from that. That mental anguish that Leah was talking about, that mental, you know, wits, we going back and forth trying to match wits, and I'm going to do this and I'm going to do, no, you're not going to do, you know, whatever the case may be. And so that right there in and of itself is freeing. It's freeing when you don't have to deal with that. It's a sad thing, but like Leah said, man, your mental health is everything. It is everything.
And we have to look at the cumulative effects of it. Year after year after year after year. And if that gentleman Quest was, let's say, in his 70s, and let's say they married in their, you know, early 20s, Lord help, that is 50 plus years of compound trauma, fighting, fussing, the whole nine, accusations potentially. And again, that's to say that it was this, you know, horrible marriage. But often, you know, it doesn't necessarily have to be horrible.
Yeah.
Learn how to be friends within a marriage and not have a marriage.
Yeah, I just knew my man.
Can you imagine waking up one day and realizing that you're not in a partnership, but you're literally living as roommates?
That's what they're doing now.
Yeah. And did you hear what Quest said, that when he asked him, I don't know if Quest, you asked him directly, like why, but whatever you asked, he said, she believes that I'm cheating on her.
Yeah.
And so that tells me that there's definitely some mental anguish that's there, right? Because, you know, I don't know that they just woke up one day and she believed that. You know,
his response was, I haven't touched another woman in 20 something years.
But
so I
did
don't
you
know
ask them how long they were married?
Yeah, no, I didn't. I mean, it was 5 minutes from where we were to where we were going.
Yeah.
So it really and truly, my interaction with him during the time, first of all, I just felt like it was God led. I don't know what it was for. Maybe I'll find out later on. So I was like, whatever I'm going to hit him with, I need to hit him with quick, because there's no, Lord, why would you allow this man to come in, you know, for me to just like lock in and pick my man up and take him to work.
Well,
I think what a good question is, I think, and I don't know if you asked it or not, question. I don't even know what we're talking about. But just listening to what you were saying, I would say this. What's making her think you're cheating?
That's my thing.
You see what I'm saying? Not why, but, you know, because why do she think you're cheating sets up a defense? What gets you a story?
But
making
is
her
this
think you're
is this
cheating on
or could be considered a perspective as well? Because he did say, like, she's going dancing with other fellas and all kinds of stuff, and he said, I guess she's setting up for her next husband.
her. Yeah.
Right?
Some
Sometimes
men,
people could be doing things and then projecting them onto you,
right.
and they'll say that you doing it too, just so it can satisfy
Yeah.
the narrative. You know
Yeah.
what I'm
Okay.
saying? Like,
And
Okay.
I get that a lot, Quest. I get that a lot in my DV classes. A lot of guys say, yeah, man, they say that they blame you because that's what they doing. I said, no, not necessarily. What are you doing to make that person think that? Now, it could be just this, Quest. It could just be insecurity.
maybe.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Wow.
So
That was
how
exactly what I was
the
going to
question
say.
to him is like, how are you feeding that insecurity? Because sometimes
Mhm.
we feed an insecurity and we don't even realize we're feeding that. You
Mhm.
see what I'm saying?
Can a marriage be Terry, 1 second, can a marriage be broken, totally broken based on insecurities alone?
What?
Yeah.
We dealing with
Absolutely.
a family member that's dealing with it right now.
Absolutely. Because see, insecurity is based out of what? Myth and fear. That's what insecurity is based out of, myth and fear. And so the bottom line is if she's thinking that there's some insecurity, she could be insecure, and the insecurity could have happened from a past relationship. Now, when I say relationship, I don't talk about intimate. I'm not talking about intimate. It could be a relationship between her and her mother, her and her father, her and a family member, or whatever. That insecurity is there. Girl, I'm telling you, if a man start moving different, he's cheating on you. I'm telling you right now. So she's getting this information, and then we all know of all of the foolishness, the reels that we see, a real man, a real woman, and so you start watching the Real Housewives of this housewife or that. All of that foolishness gets if you're looking at that stuff, it's going to become your relationship. Ooh, I wonder know me. Well, he didn't do so. He didn't do that. And when the phone rang, he got up and walked out of the room. Why did he do that? Because you were watching TV, and I don't want to disturb you. That's not what she's thinking. She's thinking he's taking a phone call from somebody else. You never know
Wow.
Yeah.
I
We have a
got you.
situation right now where one spouse thought the other spouse was cheating, but there's no solid evidence of that. But just because it's in your mind and that's the thing you keep telling it, it becomes real to you. So the
I
other
got you.
spouse ends up in another affair, right? And then the justification is that, well, you did this, but how do you know that this happened? There's no evidence of this thing happening. You know what I'm saying? It's just something that you're telling yourself, and they're reliving it over and over again. And yeah, it all because of insecurities.
Got you. Amina,
Let me say this real quick. If there is a belief, you say, she believes I'm cheating. Well, if there's a belief, that means you got to have what? Proof. There's got to be proof. Well, I don't believe in, do you believe in aliens? No, I don't. Well, why not? Well, I've never seen one.
That's it.
I hear a lot of stuff, but I don't, and I'm not talking about me personally. I'm just saying, you believe in so-and-so? I've never seen one, so I have no proof. When I see proof, then I can believe in it. Belief requires proof. Is there proof of what's going on?
Armina, go ahead, please. I want to hear your heart.
I'm old. I forgot what I was going to say.
We're stuck on insecurities.
Well, I mean, I will say this. This is not what I was going to say, but I thought of this earlier, is that, I remember what I was going to say now. I think it has to do with maybe somewhere close to the bottom of all of this are these unmet expectations, and at some point the contract changes and we don't renegotiate the terms of the contract. As we get older, as we move differently in life, we discover different things, maybe what we enjoyed doing and what we loved and who we loved, 20 years ago has changed, and we never came back to the table to really talk through that. And the other thing that I was going to mention is that, our first teachers are the people we grow up with, right? Our communities, our parents, the persons that raise us. And that's really where we learn love. And so even if we learn it and say, yeah, I don't want that, we have still experienced it, and it somehow doesn't just go away. It sort of gets embedded somewhere down in the back of our brain. And things that are embedded in the back of our brain at some point in life makes its way up to the front. And so, again, we're just so speculating on Mr. G and his wife, but a lot of things that in that 5-minute conversation brought up a bunch of things that I thought of, which, to Terry's point, the insecurity was spot on. And to make herself probably feel good about it, she's doing things to avoid having some deeper conversations that need to happen.
So the conversations are not happening.
Yes, I don't believe so.
And so, I'm sorry. And here's the other thing too. Her confirmation bias is gonna make it true.
Harry, you know you're gonna have to unpack that little phrase. Yeah, you're gonna have to break that whole.
So your confirmation bias,
Yeah,
is where you believe something, and you believe it so much that it becomes truth. Because, all right. So I'll give you an example. So, for instance, if if a woman is saying, or man or woman, ain't no good women out here. Ain't no good women out here. All these women, they ain't nothing but blah, 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 blah. That's what's going to come his way. Because
he's attracting that.
Person, every woman he thinks is going to come his way. The ones who are good are kept away from him. You see what I'm saying? Because every woman, your confirmation bias makes it, see, I told you, they're all the same. They're all the same. See, I told you, it's all the same. Because that's what you're looking for. So now your bias becomes confirmed because your mind is telling you that all women are no good. You see what I'm saying? Your mind is telling you that all men are dogs. There are no good ones out here. So guess what? Every man you see is going to be a dog.
Right. So
your bias now gets confirmed.
What Terry is saying is that we believe things, so we're going to seek out all of the proof to confirm what we believe. Even though there may be evidence to challenge that, we're not going to use those evidence to challenge it. We're just going to seek all the things that points to what we believe.
So
that's so dysfunctional.
What happens when there's not sufficient evidence to what do you do in that situation? Like you because we're talking about confirmation bias, right? So you want to seek out all the things. What happens when the things that you find are not sufficient enough, or do you make it sufficient just to fit your narrative?
But isn't it dysfunctional to think like that? Isn't it dysfunctional to?
If I believe,
for us it is, but
if I believe that my spouse doesn't care about me, I'm going to be looking for things that points that he doesn't care about me. And I'm going to say, see, I knew he never cared about me.
And then we also have to look at the fact that sometimes when those behaviors actually show up, there is some gratification in it.
Was that you were right?
Indeed. Yes. It feels good.
But what happens when you know that you might be wrong, but you're going to hold on to the narrative because you can't let nobody know that I did all of this jacking up? And
that's possible. Or you can hold on to the narrative because you just no longer want this.
So you don't want to be accountable is what it is.
That part.
Wow.
So here's a scenario. Spouse
or you just might not want it. Like literally you can outgrow things and no longer want it. If I wear a certain suit for X amount of years, I don't care how quality that suit is, I just might get tired of that suit and don't want it no more.
And people will get tired of that. And don't get me wrong, I've heard of this before. So I'm not asking this question as if I'm daft. Yeah. But there are people out there who gets tired of a relationship, and a solid one.
You got it.
A solid one. I'm going to throw a monkey wrench in this for a moment. Oh boy. Is it possible on the ladies' part, please, that menopause can play a part of that, or perimenopause can play a part of that? I'm just
1,000%. Oh, my bad. You said women. Okay.
I'm like, Terry, when did you go through menopause?
I was right there with it.
We ain't stupid no more. We pause on the show. We shoot blanks now.
Yeah, there are. I'm sorry, but there are
Hold up,
studies.
Terry.
Go ahead.
Let Terry give his menopausal experience.
Yeah. What is
I'm trying to save you, Terry. Okay.
I don't need saving.
You said, come on now, y'all. You know we don't got a lot of time. Let's
All right, go ahead. Go ahead.
I mean, I'm gonna say this, Amina, and then I'm gonna be done. Okay, it's just like when a woman is.
Terry ain't gonna let it wait. You ain't gonna let it go.
I'm serious. It's just like a woman when she's on her cycle. You see what I'm saying? She goes through changes. She does, and there are a lot of studies that show. I got somebody right now that if I say a name, y'all probably know. Okay, that his own wife, who's an MD, said I was about to ruin my marriage because I was going through menopause. I was going through menopause and everything was just constant arguing and fussing. I almost ruined my family and the whole nine. I believe it. I have proof of it. Remember what I said earlier? To believe it, you got to have proof. But I'll let y'all go ahead.
All right. My sister said,
somebody who was going through it.
My sister said, Terry, let the ladies take this one. Come on, Amina, hit us. Can menopause play a part of this?
What is this? Let's unpack this, right? Because we're talking about two things.
Go ahead.
We're talking about gray divorce and we're talking about conscious bias, right? So which one are we talking about?
Listen, I want to talk about what women, how women.
Can menopause feed into this high probability, right? That the data you reported.
Well, just explain what is menopause.
I don't want this anymore. You get like, I don't want this anymore.
Stop. Let's not do that, right? And
oh my gosh.
Let's not go down that road, because does it play a part? Yes, I think it plays a part. Is it the part? No, I think there's so many factors in it, and I just want to make sure we're clear. Like, I just want to say that it could play a part in it, but it is not the reason. And and so Terry, you have nothing to say on this part of it because
listen, I actually agree with what you said. I thought that's what I just said. He asked the question and I said 1,000% it can. I went through that. Guess what? I would come in.
But Terry, you got to be the last one to talk on this piece though. Just pause for a second.
She said pause for a second.
Okay, I will. I will stand down, but just so you know, I will stand down.
This is the first time I've ever seen Terry stand down, especially to Armina.
I will stand down, but they call me doctor for a reason. Go ahead. And it's because they call me doctor because of the way I operate. So go ahead.
Come on, Armina. Bring it, Armina. Bring it.
Yo, Terry, I want to hear your experience in the matter, but unfortunately, you're not the expert in this one. So just pause for a second, okay? Because you do have lived experience in it, but you caught it on the end. You didn't catch
on the other end. I see.
Go ahead, Queen.
Y'all are too funny to me. But anyway, what we're really kind of looking at is what are some of the things that
okay, go ahead, Leah. I'm sorry, Leah. Go ahead.
And what I'm hearing from you, Paul, is you're asking, is this something that potentially could play a role in this? As Armina is saying, it's not going to be the end all be all most times.
Sure.
But sometimes people will wake up new creatures. And we don't even have to know what in the world is going on with us, right? And some people will make impulsive types of decisions. When you don't stop, think, analyze, right? Reflect. When you cut all of that out and you move impulsively just simply because of how you're feeling at that moment, then yes, that's how poor decisions, divorces can actually ensue. But again, it's so many different moving parts that could be the reason. So
what about our part, Armina? What is man's part in something like that?
So we got to seek to understand, number one, right? And so I'm always going to go back to conversations, but there are impacts that menopause has on the marriage. And if we could just maybe talk through a few of those.
Okay, cool.
So that people are aware of what they're seeing now. Some of these impacts are the same as someone who may have mental health challenges, right? So we got to, again, have conversations. There has to be probably a doctor visits to confirm some levels within the body to make sure where we're at. So these things are stages. It's not just something that happens, you know, although for the woman, she could wake up one day and be like, you know what? I ain't signed up for this. I didn't sign up to take care of everybody else and not take care of myself. And now I'm going to take care of myself. But some of the impact could be mood swings, anxiety, depression, loss of libido, maybe even painful intercourse, especially in this area. Sexual intercourse can be impacted or affected. And fatigue, brain fog, you know, we are not talking about menopause. It's one of those things that women are suffering in silence. You know, I'm on this whole silence kick lately where I'm just like, yo, let's just expose it all, right? So we can deal with it, talk about it, and get through it. But when it comes to menopause, women are suffering in silence. You may see the fan out, you know, when you're just like, it's not hot. I'm not hot, but you see the little
fans at. Oh, not that fan.
Yeah,
I'm scared. But go ahead.
and even with a lot of the symptoms that Armina is, you know, sharing with everyone, sometimes men, you can mix up whether or not your woman is having a menopausal experience. It could be stress.
Right.
Wow. Because it shows up the same way, including the loss of libido.
Let me be clear. Let me be clear about this. I think that my father have talked to my brothers and myself about a lot of little things. I think I've heard so much from my grandmother. I've heard so much from so many people. Even in church, I've heard in the conversations. I have never heard a man sit down with another man and say, it's time for you to recognize that when you reach this space, when your wife reached this space, or when your whatever reached, you know, mother or so, when they reach this space, you have to at least understand that she could be going through something in her life.
Here's the thing, P. When I was little, I don't even remember, even as an adult, I don't ever, this is just something that I've, in my 40s and in my early 50s now, right, that I've ever heard the word perimenopause. But like, I've always known what menopause was. I know that it was something that, you know, women went through in terms of changing of hormones, body just changing. But this is some stuff and it's amazing. I've never heard. I'm like, how did you know?
But y'all listen, we sometimes don't even have those conversations, and we're women.
Yes.
What? Like, you know, coming silence. It's generational, right? The relationship between, you know, you, your mother, all of those different things play a factor.
And also, it happens at different ages for different women. So it's not like, oh, as soon as you hit 40, it's coming. You know, I mean, the question that me and my small circle of friends are having, y'all still got periods? Like, that's the conversation. We're not talking about you're irritable. Right. Or, you know, you seem a little bit more down than, no, we asking about the blood flow, because that sort of is like the most comfortable thing, because we know that that's one of the signs.
Right.
I remember growing up and just hearing hot flashes. There was so much talks about hot flashes, but menopause and perimenopause is so much more than the hot flashes.
Yeah, it is.
Wow.
But you asked a question of what men can do. I think men can educate themselves and don't assume anything. They can listen without trying to fix the situation.
Oh, stop it.
They can try.
Well, that's a normal thing, regardless of. You know what I'm saying?
That's dismissive, Quest. That's dismissive. That's dismissive.
Yeah.
You know what?
No. I just believe, like, for real. One of the things that has allowed me to navigate through menopause is to understand that this is not the only dimension to my relationship.
Okay.
It has caused me in the menopause season of my marriage to focus on my spiritual connection, my emotional connection, right? Hence one of the reasons why I got to get tightened up in therapy. Why? Because I want to make sure that, like, for real, these moments that I feel like it's been a week, 2 weeks, and we ain't had no, like, what is going on? And if I'm not careful, right? We talked about the effects of, and if I'm just being completely transparent, if I'm not being careful, like, you low key might, like, what happened? I don't do it for you no more. Like,
Well, right.
it's
And
not me.
I was
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yes.
and that's the reason why the communication, the mental connection, the emotional connection, the physical connection, and we start having these conversations about what's going on inside her body.
But
She's
also,
like,
plus for you always talk about doing the inner work, right?
Mhm.
And so this is a perfect example of when we need to really flex doing the inner work, because you're going to start to internalize some of the things that you're feeling, like, wow, is it me? I'm feeling rejected. There's some resentment going on, or maybe confusion. So you got to explore that. And so I was going to mention the very last thing before you gave me the low blow was to do your inner work, which is what you always talk about on this show.
Yeah.
You're always talking about development. You're always talking about doing the inner work. My dad, again, has never said, and I'm going to be clear, right? My dad has never said to me, my uncles have never said to me that there's a period in time when your wife can reach this space where you're going to have to be more understanding. You're going to have to be more so-and-so.
You're saying he didn't?
No. I learned about menopause. Can I be shameful? Can I be shameful?
Yes, it's
Maybe,
safe.
Ain't no shame.
maybe 5 years ago, maybe during the pandemic.
Mhm.
Or you understand where I'm coming from? I gotta be honest with you, and more than that, perimenopause, and then I'm finding out that what people are feeling in their 40s, in their 50s, there's some young ladies who are going through this as soon as they hit 40, and so it's see. We were taught, that when she starts acting, the B word. This is how we were taught. Okay.
Mean and nasty.
Well, you see, the reason why I don't want to.
That's his real, right? That's your real.
This is what I've been getting as a kid growing up. And when you say mean and nasty, right? I think that the B word is what is really what is denoted or whatever to her, and no one is saying to us, look for the signs. No one is saying to us, she may not want to. Like, I give you a strong.
Can I stop you right there? Can I stop
Yeah.
you right there? What if you can't hang your hat on the label menopause or perimenopause, but yet and still she has the same symptoms? What do you do then?
What I'm saying to you is, if someone said it, if the conversation would happen, I would have to hang my hat if I love her.
No, you're not hearing what I'm saying.
Right.
Come back again.
If I remove the label of menopause, take that out of the equation, the symptoms are the same, but it's not menopause. What do you do then? Where do you hang your hat at then?
I hate you.
I know it.
But
Come on,
if that's the case for me, then we have a conversation, and then we look at what are some solutions to, if we can find any solutions to it, and to find out if she's comfortable with having the conversation and dealing with what needs to be dealt with. Is first and foremost, because it don't make no sense to press it if she ain't comfortable. What you gonna do?
You know, when I listen to you guys, right, and I'm gonna go back to you, Quest, real quick, right? When I listen to the way that you answer certain things, right, it goes right back to everybody's clinical ways of dealing with how they deal with certain things,
Mm.
right? There's a group on Facebook called perimenopause that many women are joining and so on. So I would love to take a peep at it. Honestly, right? I would love to take a peep at it. I think what I'm hearing from Armina is it is really important for you to understand what women go through at that age, or understand women in general.
How can you properly manage what you don't know?
That's what I'm saying. I think y'all still missing it.
No.
It helps you to have something you can hold on to, right? Because the unknown makes relationships unstable. Right?
Okay.
Leah, can I
could be 50 years old and still technically have my cycle. But because there's so much stress in my life, my cycle might stop. Now what?
So, Leah, are you asking to remove the label and really deal with
the reality of how your woman is showing up? Because what I'm hearing is this is perimenopause, this is menopause. So now it's tangible. I can
hold on to it. That's the excuse, the reason.
There we go. But what if that's removed? How do you manage in that space if life is just stressing your woman out? If you just stressing your woman out? If the children are just stressing the woman out? How do you manage? Look, they done got rid of all the men, Mina. But it's real.
Sis, let's just say I'm feeling some kind of way tonight.
I'm just saying, this is the reality.
It's scary. It's a scary thing that you're saying.
It doesn't have to be, though. It doesn't have to be. When you open up your heart and mind to, like, okay, this is something that doesn't affect me directly, but this is my partner, my rib, my bride, whatever you want. Like, I need to find out or have some level of understanding as to what you're dealing with, what you're going through, because I can't be of assistance to you if I don't know what's going on. And here's
Understood.
Okay, here's the thing that might be rattling. I see where you're saying it might be scary, because sometimes she don't even know what's going on. So how can I expect her to know what's going on?
That's what I'm saying.
But the ability to just understand that you're my half and I got to stand in this with you, just like standing here. I'm whatever you need, I'm here. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you might just have to do just that. Just stand in it.
You know what? I think, as you know, we're saying all of this. This is not something for men to be afraid of.
Okay.
The challenge I'm going to ask my brothers to do is to just lean in. If you lean in, you'll be so surprised of what you might even learn and what may be revealed about you, not just your spouse. And so let us stop trying to hold on to what was and start, being present in what is.
I don't think that this is. I think this is twofold, right? Because we're talking about what we do if we lean in. I think there's a lot to be learned by both of us. I think because my mind always goes to the place like, God, why would you allow this to happen? Because the usual suspect in this, right, is that my wife going through this thing, that mean I ain't gonna get no loving. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what the usual conversation around menopause is. But I think that there's a lesson on both sides. Like, I can't really speak to women because that's something but I know that there's something there to be learned. Because if you don't know half the time what you feeling and how you feel it and how to communicate that, much less for us to know, I think there's a lot to be learned on that side. On our side, I think we have a lot to learn, that your relationship is so much more than everything can be cool as long as you get in that physical connection. But what happens when you go extended periods without it? Now you're going to have to lean into some stuff now. You're going to have to lean into all the other dimensions of your relationship. Your conversation that you used to have no longer suffices. This is a different season. So now you're going to have to converse and fill the gaps. What does like I said before, what does it look like for us to connect spiritually? What does it look like for us to connect mentally? What does it look like for us to connect emotionally? Like I told you one time, I'll never forget it, man. We was at Faith's house and we were playing this little cat and mouse game. And by the time I we both ended up in the same room after. We just locked eyes, and immediately, I'm talking about belly type laughter, tearing up kind of laughter, right? And sometimes that kind of laughter, right, depending on how mature you are in your relationship, is better than a doggone orgasm. I promise you. Sometimes, depending on the season that you're going through. So I think that like this is a two-way street. There's a lot of ground to cover. There's a lot of things to learn. And I think we both, not just us, I think women can learn from their side as well.
Yeah, I'm with you with that. I'm going to say this because Terry started off with something that I'm going to tell you honestly. That without a certain level of understanding, you can get to a point where I'm gonna just say this, right? No, I'm gonna ask this. Can this be an excuse for behavior?
If you can, if you operate without integrity and character, you know what I'm saying? If you're dishonest, then of course it can. You can use anything as an excuse, right?
This is why I said what happens if you can't hang your hat on that.
On that.
Yep.
Yeah, you know, and see, this is why when Terry was speaking earlier, now, you know, to put me into this, for him to say, listen, what I've experienced could have possibly done this. What I've experienced is, okay, she makes a comment, right? Armina made a comment that vaginal hurt. I don't know. Okay, that he can.
Vaginal dryness.
Vaginal dryness. You know, I think that is important, right? That someone is able to say, a wife is able to say, honey, this is what I'm experiencing. Instead of, we're not doing this. Are you understand where I'm coming from?
Yeah.
I think.
What if the man jumps into fix-it mode, as we were hearing this evening?
Yep. So this
is what we're learning.
Come with all types of solutions. Let's get the KY. Let's try this. Let's do that. And it is still hurting her, and you're putting her through all sorts of anguish just because she loves you.
Right. Yep. And I think that's where we are learning in this space that that's what leading in is all about.
Because if you don't learn, then you're gonna end up building up resentment.
Yeah, you
for
will.
Something you shouldn't be building
and
resentment
going outside.
For.
And going outside.
On both ends, right?
Because I don't want another brother. I really don't want another brother to understand what my wife is going through, and I'm not. I'm not even talking about having sex with her. I'm not even talking about being physical with her. I'm just talking about exactly, because we may not be having sex, but somebody else may be taking her to lunch. Somebody else. Terry, you all right? Because you have your perfect teeth showing. Your perfect
real quick. Help me, Leah. Help me.
Go ahead.
No, help me, because you were saying it a while ago. Like, if you can't hang your hat on it, and I agree with you, and I hear, but flesh it out for me.
So what I'm saying is those same symptoms that Armina was presenting, are exactly what you can get just from stress.
Yeah.
Absolutely nothing to do with menopause.
Yeah.
Just everyday stress, overwhelm, right? Depending on the role in the work. I remember I had to have Lonnie do some research. Well, actually, he ended up doing it on his own because I kept talking about some things, right? And one day he came back, being a clinician and being a trauma clinician, right? I deal with the heaviest of the heavy. Secondary traumatic stress will wipe out every bit of everything out of you. And yet you have to present and show up for your mate. So one day, he, on his own recognizances, he started to do his own research on this thing. And I came home one day, he was like, you know what, babe? He was like, this is crazy. You were really right. Like, he didn't believe me at first, right? Because, you be thinking that your woman trying to get up out of some stuff. No, the body anatomically or physiologically responds to outside stimuli, the environment, right? And the pressures of life. So much so that stress can shut down your ability to produce the hormones that's necessary.
Yeah, I saw this chick today. Her body, just because of stress, this black woman, her body broke out in boils, like like water bubbles all over her skin. It was ridiculous. It was crazy, just because of stress.
Just because of stress.
Also, too, you're talking about menopause. All of that, what Leah's talking about, also could result in amenorrhea. What is it? Amenorrhea.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And,
Gotta break down the term for him to you since you brought it up.
I appreciate that. I don't listen. I don't mind being ignorant. I don't want to leave ignorant. Okay. All right.
It's just basically failure to have a monthly cycle.
And that's why I was saying the stress can take away the woman's cycle, but you may be thinking your wife didn't finally hit menopause. No, your wife may be stressed out and her body is unable to produce the chemicals that allows for her cycle to show up.
Lord Jesus, then where do you hang your hat with that?
And that's why I asked you. This is why you hear so much men talking about menopause. My girl got menopause, and so she ain't. No. Really dig deep. Really have conversations.
As a believer, this is a heavy conversation because what I'm looking at in terms of the bottom line is that you either built for marriage or you're not.
Come on, or can't you not be built for marriage, but build in marriage?
You can if you have a willing spirit.
Please give me some hope. Give me some hope, Doc. Give me some hope.
I'm just saying, because like for real, I hear this stuff right here. You hear people say marriage is work. This is the part of the stuff that they talk, because we don't have these conversations a whole lot. And this is why this is especially dope, because now when I'm thinking about it, like, yo, imagine being married and you're not a developed individual to be able to properly process
that word again.
And challenge, right? We said it before, P. You look at menopause and have resentment for her, because you like, this is a joke. You don't got nothing. You just don't want to. Is it somebody else or whatever? And if you're not having the conversations, perception is reality. And so you're not being who you need to be in the relationship, and you go look for something else where you damage this relationship, depending on who the individual is. As far as my wife is already telling me, if it's one thing that I can't do infidelity. That's her one. I could do a lot of stuff. I told
Monty the same thing. I
could do a lot of stuff. That's one I cannot do.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, like, for real, when I start just like diving, just thinking about the thing, I'm just like, yo, you either built for this thing or you not. Or you committed to building. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. And you may have some individuals that are tolerant and, more tolerant than others. I wouldn't say play Russian roulette and get to limit testing how tolerant your spouse is. And that forgiveness shall be abound.
I think, Paul, when you were, I think the issue is, and Leah was saying it earlier, we are designed, men are designed to fix things. Okay?
True. Yes.
That's how we're groomed. Hey, you're the provider. You got to make sure everything is right. Fix it. As soon as dad walked through the door, what's going on? All right, let me go ahead and now to fix it. And a lot of times, women don't want us to fix it. They want us to just listen. They want us to just listen. Just listen to me.
I got to learn that, Terry. I don't need you
to fix it. I need you to hear what I'm saying. Then a lot of times we start fixing something. It's like, that's not what I wanted. Imagine, okay, get this picture in your head. So, Leah comes home and she's, upset about something that happened at work. Okay. And so she's like, she tells Lonnie about it. And she's like, I'm going to take a shower. Now, because Lonnie knows, Leah's boss, because they've been to certain, what do you call
Functions.
it? Functions or whatnot. The boss calls. Okay. Now Leah could be complaining about somebody at work, okay, who got a position over her. And then it's like she has to train this individual when Leah thought she was going to get it. So Lonnie gets on the phone. Oh, she's taking a shower, but I can have her call you when she get. Okay, yeah, tell her. Hey, so listen, Celeste, I wanted to tell you something. Leah came home and talked about that position, and she said she didn't get it, and blah blah blah. And the boss didn't know how Leah was feeling about it. And Lonnie felt that he was fixing it for his wife. Hey, Celeste called you. Oh, what does she want? She said she would just call her back when you got out of the shower. And by the way, I told her you was unhappy about that position. Leah loses her mind. I didn't need you to fix that, man. I was coming home telling you about it. It wasn't supposed to go anywhere. So now she got to go back and fix some stuff. Her boss knows how she feels about something. And now she got to go back into work because I don't need you to fix it. I just need you to be that safe space for me, be that ear, be that pillow that I can dive into and just talk about. I'll figure this out. You know what I'm saying? And I always approach things this way. So if that situation was to happen with me, okay, so what did you do? What are you gonna do? What's the plan? I don't know. I was thinking about, just going in there and going ballistic on feet. Okay, that's an option. Probably not a good one. What else can you do? And you help them problem solve by just asking them, and before you know it, they've already solved the problem themselves without you trying to fix it. Just help them. Okay, what are you planning? Oh, that sounds like a good one. Maybe you should try that. I think I will. Bam, that's it. Just listen.
Or maybe we just needed to decompress, right? We just need to get it out. And so for men, a lot of times it's difficult for you to sit with the discomfort.
It is.
I used to just call it solve or soundboard. Which one you want?
Huh?
In the beginning, like there was a sound to it. Like if I was paying attention to her enough, it was a sound. Like you could tell the difference when she wanted to just share with you and when she wanted it to solve. And a lot more of the time, I used to call it solve or soundboard. You know what I'm saying? And then I a lot of the time, I would say 90-something% of the time, it's just soundboard.
Hey, sound
I used to call it solve or soundboard.
And I love that because it shows that you were in tune, right? That emotional intelligence. You were attuned to what your wife needed, right?
But here's one. I'm sorry, Leah. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Here's one too. What 4 H's, 5 H's? You got a problem? Go home. Okay, so do you want to be heard?
That part.
Do you want to be held? Do you want to be heard, held, or do you want to be humped? Which one is it? Do you want to be heard, held, humped?
Alex humped for 2000.
Yeah, and that's the one you
The answer is a daily double.
Let's make it a true daily double.
That's the one on constant repeat.
I'll take hump for 600, Alex.
So my question is, because it was supposed to be menopause and ED, because we ain't got to y'all yet. Y'all
mercy, my Jesus, my Lord.
So, are we ready to flip the script on y'all?
Or are we definitely can. We can.
We got 15 minutes, but we can. Go ahead.
I don't know if we want to rush through it. I don't think it's
no, we got to rush through it.
Part to it and come back.
But somebody made a comment on it. Somebody made a comment on it earlier. I can find it too. Erectile dysfunction in men is real. Speak about it. Leave us women alone.
Listen, Anna, my girl.
Somebody said held and humped.
I'm with Nisha.
Look, but what if the humper can't hump?
Hey, if the humper can't hump, then
we going to
then what happens to the woman when she needs that?
I
They got
forgot. There
devices
was
that'll
one
help
more. I
you with
knew it was
that.
one I was forgetting. Do you want help? Do you want to be heard? Do you want to be
held?
Or do you want humped? And they may want all four.
Alex, let's do hump again for 600.
But what if we only wanted to hump and he can't because he got ED?
Wow.
Wait, how did we go to ED?
Well,
because that's where we started. We started.
It is where we started.
My bad.
It is.
Okay.
So answer the question, Alex, for 1,000.
Yeah.
Oh, what's the question?
Well,
What happens
Armina, turn your phone like this.
We going to see somebody because I got to deliver the
What
mail.
happens when she is feeling the stress of life? She's overwhelmed. And she says, I went through the 4 H's and I want the ladder. I want to come up. Now what if your boy got ED?
Blue chews.
Should
blue chews.
walk away or what?
The rose.
Rose Plus. Get everything hard. Get your nose, your ears, everything hard.
What's the one they got now? You put it under your tongue, you dissolve in 15 minutes, you turn into a jackhammer.
I was imitating Shay. Get everything hard. Okay. If he can't hump Terry, no, he can't hump me.
Wait, who's humping Terry? Wait. I just stepped away for maybe 10 minutes.
I forgot.
Right now?
There was a space in between there. Okay.
There was a space in between.
Can't hump me. Well, again, that requires a conversation. You know what I'm saying? It requires a conversation. And if you present the 4 H's and it doesn't go down, she already know if there's a problem there.
It's already down. It's down.
You can't pick hump. I can hold you. I can help you. You know,
it's already down.
Yeah, it's like that ain't gonna work tonight. But there's so many y'all should talking around this ED thing. You know. Okay, so Tori Patterson wants to talk about the wet noodle. What do y'all want to talk about?
I mean, what are some of the reasons, right, that men are unable to get up and to satisfy because it's not all, right?
Okay. So let me say this. Just like you guys.
Quest.
Leah started it.
I just asked the question.
Leah said it's already down.
Listen, but
all right, so here we go. All right, here we go. just like women. See, here's the myth. Here's the myth that all men are always ready to go all the time. We may be thinking about it all the time, but we're not always ready to go. And here's the other thing too. It might not be ED. It might not be ED. It may be what? Like Leah mentioned before. It could be stress. Is there ever a time where you didn't want it or you couldn't get it up because you was just like, man, they talking about evicting us out of this house tomorrow. They talking about coming to get this car. They talking about I got these kids. I can't get them in school. Whatever the case may be. I done lost my job. There are a whole lot of reasons where, you know, because dudes ain't 16 and 18 no more. You know what I'm saying? And the thing about it is when you were, man, it don't matter what was going on. That soldier was like,
cool breeze.
Everybody done been in Pathfinder before. It don't matter. But when you get older and you got to stand it straight up. Like okay, there you go. That's if you're laying on your back. But the deal is
That's why I held it like that.
Okay, right. And so the deal is
if you're standing up, it's like that.
That's it. That's it.
You see, I'm waiting for Armina.
You know
I'm waiting for Armina to step in and say,
no, Armina got to take a back seat on this one. Because
first of all, Dr. Parks, you don't see me jumping in. I'm just
good job.
I'm leaning in, okay?
So, because Armina said the rose.
My husband is getting
Armina said the rose.
Back. Lonnie, you better chill out.
But there is sexual, there's sexual mythology out there. You know, people think that, sex requires a performance, that, a man must orchestrate sex. There's all kinds of things that happen. And so when we talk about
pressure,
when we talk about that, it's like there's so many things that may be on a man's mind that he is just like, I can't even get it there tonight. I'm tired, or see me tomorrow, whatever the case may be. That does happen. It does happen to men, and it doesn't have to be related to ED. Now, so as Leah was saying, take away the ED. Now, what can you hang it on?
You got it.
No pun intended. Okay.
Because you won't be hanging it on that when it look like
hey.
Hang your hat on this one.
I know some people who have erectile dysfunction.
Yeah. Yes.
And
I know we're joking, but this is a serious thing. And
you see, did I tell you what's coming? Did I tell you what's coming from me? Did I tell you what's coming? It is. I mean, I know some people who take certain pills.
Choose
whatever they take. I will say this, by God's grace, I'm just saying right now that is not an issue for me, but it can happen. It can happen down the road. And I think
that too much moringa.
Or what was a pineapple? What was it?
Watermelon.
Watermelon. It was watermelon. I think
pineapple is a thing too.
Yes, it is.
Mm-hmm.
For a certain reason. I'm going to be quiet now.
I think I know the reason.
Yes.
I think I know the reason. Okay. But the same thing with a woman, that a man should understand his wife is the same way the wife must understand her husband. I do recognize that there's some individuals as men that I know of that can't, not because of the physical, but because of the mental. All right. And I had one individual have a conversation with me the other day who simply said, because his wife doesn't want it all the time, when she wants it, he feels like I shouldn't have to. Now that you want to. So I can't get excited about that. Or another individual, and that's why I love guys that I miss I'm going to say my old church when I say this, that you it's so few and far between that you don't want to enjoy yourself now, because later on, this thing is not going to happen until another month or two or so whatever. So I'd rather not play in the sweet house, because if I play in the sweet house, I'm going to be without it for a long time. So I'd rather not. And then you find individuals that they have this issue of ED when they're with their when they're with their spouse, but when they're not, they can watch something and be ready for themselves. You see where I'm coming from? And so there's so many issues that men, if they're able to, can talk about outside of medications and blood pressure medications that cause these things to happen or what have you. There's some things that are mental, and
there are some psychological associations that actually happen.
Got it. And I think the same.
Similarly, I was just going to say similarly, let's just say, for example, you see people in the movies, and after they get done having sex, they roll over and they smoke a cigarette automatically, right? And so you have these autonomic thoughts over time that is built in. So he can actually get up because he's used to that feeling, that actual sensation. And sometimes that's necessary to even, transition into that next thing, right? With your woman. So it's knowing what works for the union.
I got you. You see, again, just what I love so much about you guys is that this is, and I'm going to say, and this is so important. A conversation that doesn't happen where it needs to happen. I'm going to say it again. It's a conversation that needs to happen where it doesn't happen. Church, community, I'm just saying that church community, and I strongly believe that this is one of the reasons why men ought to come together to have these conversations, the safe conversations, where women can come together and have these conversations. Because what I remember was women at church telling the young girls at church that if you want to keep your man, if you want to do something, learn to do this, learn to do that, learn to do the other. But no one told us, understand that when they reach a certain age, this is where you can be. And I think that the fear aspect in this is my own woman not knowing where she is. And again, Armina, what you said was so telling. Be there, lean in, have the conversation, talk about it, be present. I saw somebody put that up there earlier. Be present. And I think that that's not just for all the other issues, right?
Can I say this real quick, P, and interject it right in there?
Well, go ahead.
Like, for real, if you're married and you're not having these conversations, you beat. Okay. If you're married, you have to have, and you're married, you have a halfway decent marriage. You have to want your marriage to grow through the seasons. You have to want that.
But if you take these issues personal, or if you internalize them, it's going to be hard to have the conversations.
But you know what it is, Mina? It's difficult for people because this is a muscle in their marriage that they are comfortable not exercising.
Wow. Yeah. Wow.
I find out who I really am in certain groups, like my chest, my back, my arms, my shoulders, like my arms, no problem. I hit the gym, I do a couple of reps, immediately everything stands up like, yeah, we here, right? Because I've learned how to practice that muscle over and over and over again. Mm-hmm. I hate leg day with a passion. Mm-hmm. So some days I skip it. That's between me. You don't tell my trainer, but I'll skip leg day sometimes. Mm-hmm. And so now when I gotta go up and weight and my legs is doing stuff like this right here, and I walk out the gym with them, go like for real, they feel like 2 wet noodles and they tremble in every step that I take. Mm-hmm. Right? It feels that way because I don't exercise those muscles regularly.
Right.
And there's some of us in marriage right now. The reason why you feel about the conversations that must be had, that will grow your marriage from season to season, from level to level, right? The reason why you respond to that the way that you do is because those are muscles that you refuse, and you're okay. Yeah. You're comfortable with not exercising those muscles. You're going to pay for it.
But Quest, what if those muscles, AKA communication, was never the thing that was established in the beginning? Right.
And I think, Leah, that's probably one of the things that we need to start normalizing as far as us having these conversations. Don't do relationship if you are not prepared to have serious conversations. Because you're not dealing with just you.
Everyone are not. All types of, there's different types of communication, right?
Yes. Okay, go ahead.
So there's the verbal, right? Then we have the non-verbal communication, right? So there's variations in that. But let's just say that we potentially can exclude some people that want to be married, right? Want to be in right relationship, but they've never learned how to externalize their communication beyond maybe the nonverbal. If I'm an introvert, right? And I'll just say for me, I grew up in a household where my father barely said a few words. He called me or I call home and he said, "Hey, baby, you good?" I said, "I'm straight." He was like, "All right, here go your mama." That's the extent of the conversation. So if this is something that I was shaped in and I get into a relationship, we don't talk, right? And I may not even know that this is abnormal. It takes time. It takes someone to pour into me or into an individual in any type of relationship to say, "Hey, we need to verbally communicate this, that, and that," right?
See, you see that what you're saying right there? That's the stuff that we have to be putting out in the forefront. Like if you're going to do a relationship, this is what communication needs to look like. If it doesn't look like this based upon how you grew up, then you're going to have to make some adjustments if you want that to work properly.
Exactly. Yeah. And these are real conversations, like you're saying, that needs to be laid out.
You know how many times I've been on like house building work sites where the dude who runs code, like the state or whatever, and they come in and they're like, yeah, that pipe is wrong. That pipe needs to be 3 feet over here.
Mhm.
Guess what's not happening until that pipe moves?
A
Nothing.
license.
Nothing.
Nothing. They
Nothing
ain't
is
building
happening.
nothing. They
Nothing.
not doing, because
They're
that
not
does
pouring
not
concrete.
meet code.
Nothing. That's right.
Nothing.
That's right. Nothing is
Everything comes to a stop until the pipe guys come back in and move that joker over 3 feet so it can meet code. Then the building can continue. Our problem is that we've been building and ignoring relationship code and building anyway. And then we find out why, because life just has a way, relationship just has a way of presenting the difficulties and challenges. Oh,
Yeah.
if you would have did it the way that you were supposed to, then we wouldn't be here facing this right now.
But the thing is if I don't know.
Yep.
There are so many that just don't know how they're supposed to be. It's almost like being a parent. We don't know how to be a parent.
Yep.
Wow. Listen, let's hold on. Let's land the plane. I got questions for everybody. Let's land the plane.
Yep.
I always want to ask what y'all doing tomorrow. Here we go. Mina, you made a comment earlier, and I'm going to ask everybody around the horn with this, even if it's the same answer. What does leaning in look like? Whether it's ED, whether it's menopause, perimenopause, when it comes to your spouse, what does your spouse? Well, that's where we are in this mindset. What does leaning in look like? I want to start with you, Armina.
Being curious. So the questions that you're going to ask is because you genuinely want to know. So being curious and listening with non-judgment. The perimenopause, menopausal thing is very sensitive and it's very personable.
It is.
So if you're asking questions about my behaviors or symptoms only to justify what you're going through, to if you're looking for what we talked about earlier, those biases to confirm what you've been thinking, then you're not leaning in.
Wow. I know we usually throw you off, but stay on with us. Just stay on with us. Terry, what about yourself? What does leaning in look like?
Leaning in is actually a therapeutic tool, that therapists use. When someone's talking, you just lean in like this, let me get a closer understanding. And so that's what Amina is talking about, to expound on what she's saying, is just leaning in, getting a good understanding, and maybe doing some imago, like, okay, so what I heard you say was, okay, is that correct? Yes. Is there anything more?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. I also want to say this. You see what I'm saying? And so you take that, lean in, and ask those questions. Have the hard conversations. A lot of people don't want to have the conversation because what has already been set up has been uncomfortable. So he said, well, I ain't gonna even say nothing to him because I know he got his mind and he ain't gonna change. So I know, well, I know what the answer is, so I ain't gonna say nothing. So, hey, you lean in, be present in the moment, accepting and acknowledging it without judgment, and not getting caught up in emotional responses to the situation or in thoughts that are about. Not getting caught up in thoughts that are about the situation or emotional responses to the situation. You know what I'm saying? And what does that mean? Wait a minute. So what she telling me is this my fault because of so-and-so? That's the thoughts about it. And then the other deal is what? Emotional responses. So what you said to me was I hurt. That's all that is.
I got you. Since since Armina jumped out, she just dropped the phone. I'm gonna have you in the back room also. And just wait for us. Leah, what does leaning in look like to you?
Leaning in is exactly what Armina and Terry said. So I would just kind of tack on to the back of that. Don't avoid, right? What we fear we tend to run from.
Ooh, my Jesus.
So leaning in looks like the opposite of that, and it's fighting for. So don't avoid it.
Don't
Right?
avoid it. Yeah.
Sit with it. Sit with the discomfort, as I stated earlier. Right? Allow for understanding, not assumption.
Not
Allow
assumption.
for understanding and give credence to them, because you might not get it, but they do.
I think.
Yeah.
I think.
But
Go ahead.
no, I appreciate that. Yeah. Not assumption. Not assumption. Because usually when Paul Graham does that, it's to prove his point instead of finding that common place.
Yeah.
Not
And not even finding a common place, accepting what is for her.
Got
and
it.
Leaving it there.
And leaving it there.
It may not be anything that you desire, agree with, none of that. Accept what she is saying about her. Period.
Got it. Got it. Thanks, lady. We'll see you in the green room.
Yeah.
Listen, man. Emmy, Emmy is late, right? You see how Emmy just got on and she's late?
I say it.
What did she say here? I don't have menopause yet.
But can also relate to this, to the monthly hormonal suffering of a yes.
Okay, got you, sis.
It's all tied in.
Yeah,
I think for me, P, there's a part of me that says it's a two-way street, the leaning in, right? I do believe as a husband, it is my responsibility to start the reciprocal. If there's a reciprocal component to it, the jury's still out. I believe as a husband, it's my duty to start or to initiate.
Understood.
And my leaning in is me from a standpoint saying, I don't know what this is. You know what I'm saying? But I'm here to provide. I'm here to serve.
Wow.
You.
Provide almost sounded like to fix it.
You know what I'm saying?
It almost sounded like to fix it, but yes, to serve.
Right. Or to say that there's nothing wrong with me, but there's something wrong with you. I'm not even here to say that. I'm here to be educated on what's happening. Now, some things I will know, and I'm still going to lean in and say, where are you in terms of having this conversation or doing this thing? Because you asked what it looks like, right? But basically, yeah, what Daphne's saying, I'm here for you.
Yeah, I got
I'm
you.
here for you.
You know,
and I think that's the thing that we forget about marriage. We're looking so much to be served rather than to serve.
You know, there's something that you said earlier that I really wanted to close off on. You said solve. What was that
solve
again?
or soundboard.
Solve a soundboard.
Yeah, because I've done it for a while. Even now that I've been off of it, I can still it still has a sound to it. And when I say a sound, it's not the tone in her voice. I can't explain it. I've been listening to her for the last 14 years, truth be told, 16 years. And when she wants me to solve something, it's the very rare sound, right? She wants me to be a soundboard. Like she did what? That's crazy. How do you feel about that though? Soundboard. In essence, she wants you to be. She already knows what she wants to do, but there's an emotional connection that she's trying to create, and I would use this thing to share it with you. Understood. Like I remember one time she came home, P, and told me something that had happened on the job, and I was like, "What you need to do is," and I did it like 2 or 3 times, and she gave me like this look after the 3rd time of disgust, like,
yeah, like, please.
I already know what I want to
do. I got you. Yo, listen, Quest. It's always a pleasure. You know that, right? It's always a pleasure. For those who have joined us, you can always go back and watch. Please share this with 5 people. Share this with 5 people. I think it's also amazing that as we come down to the end, so many people are popping on, but you can always go back and watch. And just to understand that we don't have all the answers, but what we do want you to do is have the conversations. We really want you to have the conversation. Be blessed, everyone. Be blessed. And we will see you next Monday if we don't show up tomorrow. That's it.
That's it. Yeah,
This tree is killing me. Hold that.